Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream of Shadowverse. Today is Monday, January 10th. Let's hop in here. Get the mouse cursor in the right place. Go back to the title screen, start all over again. Pretty much over the entirety of this weekend, I've been feeling pretty bad. I didn't feel pretty good even on Friday, so the accountability section pretty much boils down to playing absolutely no Fallout 3 or making any YouTube content really at all, or scheduling videos. I did finish the Stranger Things Lego set. I also ordered a neck pillow that I'm wearing right now, and it feels a little awkward, certainly, with the headphones bumping up to it and kind of rubbing against it. So, yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I've fallen behind on this weekend. I've just felt really bad, and particularly in the past 24 hours, I felt really, really bad. So I may very well just take the whole week off. So we got 2 packs. We did not get 5 million rupees, which I imagine the odds are incredibly low that you would get that. But we can go and just open these packs. So it probably won't be a case that just going forward, because of my automated program now, that's somehow going to make these streams a little bit shorter. It shouldn't really do that. It will give me more energy at the start of the streams a little bit by not spending as much time setting up a stream and looking and opening tabs. But that's about the only thing that really should change. What is more likely happening here, and I could almost guarantee this is the case, is we are just in January where it's incredibly dry as far as video game news. And so it's become very easy to finish early. And on this Monday, I suspect that's once again going to be the case. So we got like 3 or 4 good cards there. Not a bad haul. I also didn't play solo. I have a hard time believing I'm actually even going to get around to playing these solo quests. Like, how much time do we have? We have until January 25th, so we don't have to really rush it, but you can see how the game here has decided to once again give us something to keep us busy. Ranked for 30, evolve 5 times. So we don't have to pick a specific type of deck to play, which is nice, but we also have very little that we can play. I mean, I basically just want to try something different here, so we'll do this. And yeah, let's just start covering video game news. My computer decided to lock up, and then when it rebooted, still didn't work. Had to reboot it a second time, which is not good. Certainly. Hopefully it's not the sign of something bigger. But yeah. Let's just start going through video game news immediately. The IGDA's International Game Developer Association's Japanese branch had some kind of conference, and then they posted a link to their website, but it's all in Japanese, so I can't really tell you whatsoever it even was all about. Let's see. The RetroArch team put out a video showing off Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness with DOSBox Pure being emulated, which, again, excuse the blurriness, but it's a real shame that my nostalgia and memory of games like Warcraft 1 and 2 would really smack up to the reality of just how old those games are, and that there really isn't any way I could cover it. I could spotlight Warcraft 1 and 2, but I would need to have a reason to spotlight it, which would indicate playing something like Warcraft 3 or World of Warcraft. Even there, it doesn't even seem like that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I saw a YouTube video talking about the jailer, who is apparently a big bad guy in World of Warcraft, and how they've effectively taken any semblance of the Warcraft world and stretched it now into almost a sci-fi world that doesn't really feel like it's anything close to what the original Warcraft game stories were telling. And so if they were going to make a single player Warcraft game, which they almost certainly are not, and there was some reason why you would want to cover an Activision Blizzard game, which is not something you probably would want to do either. Then
not with everyone around me. I'm glad you're here.
You're going to definitely run into a very different experience compared to the old Warcraft games. Yeah.
The banquet shall proceed.
Video Games Chronicles has an article here. Sega says they will ditch NFTs if it's perceived as a simple money-making scheme. I think half of what Sega does is simple money-making schemes, though, so I don't really put a lot of faith into that statement. There is a story, and I don't know if we're going to actually see the game or talk about it. One game has apparently been censored in the way that they've changed the costume. Changed her from having a shorter skirt into a longer dress. A Japanese female character. And then they kind of do the standard lie thing, saying they're in university and instead of in high school. And the developer of the game announced this change and censorship, self-censorship, and then immediately tried to attack people who were anti-censorship, which is just doubling down on angering that audience. And then the publisher came out and tried to blame Steam, and I'm not sure I 100% believe their claim. First of all, they make a claim that everybody knows that if a game is rejected from Steam because they, quote, perceive it includes exploitation of a child, and in this case that would be anime characters that look too young, and in my taking of that, it's always been they basically have to look like they are either just getting into junior high or elementary school, because there's plenty of high school moe looking character games out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some inconsistency, definitely, in what gets approved and what gets rejected, but this is the first I've ever heard of anything as extreme as a one rejection and you can't resubmit it concept. That seems fairly ridiculous and somewhat unbelievable. yes,
Close your
there's
eyes.
been an example or two of Valve completely rejecting specific games from specific people and just saying don't even bother to apply. And again, it's been very inconsistent. But I would have assumed that all throughout 2021 we would have had a long list of games that were rejected and would have fallen on the other side of that stance if that was so true. Or at any story ever where something has been rejected and not allowed to reapply. In this case, for this game, it's really ridiculous because the characters are not moe at all. They look very old by the old animation style. So I kind of wonder if this isn't just straight up self-censorship. And that's the problem, though, particularly when dealing with Japanese companies, is that you only have to let them assume that they're going to be told no. And then Japanese companies will just say, no, we can't do it. It's too difficult. Let's give up. Let's just self-censor. They're not bold when it comes to doing business, to say the least. And so, even in your messaging, when you say no to somebody in the United States, that no is just the beginning of negotiations. When you say no to somebody in Japan or a business in Japan, that no is the end of negotiations. That they take it as set in stone. Whereas I imagine Valve could get pushed back a lot more than you would think. Imagine Valve as a company really doesn't care, and they simply have a couple of employees that are pushing the narrative.
Oh yeah, I smell trouble.
It really does still smack into the oddity or two-facedness of Valve saying pretending to be a libertarian company when they totally are picking and choosing winners as far as games that are getting listed on their storefront. Moving on. Video Game Chronicles says From Software's Armored Core 6 reportedly revealed via a survey. So, okay. That's not really a lot of news. That really is just a survey effectively saying that they plan on making a 6th game. Elden Ring character creator has leaked via a closed network test. This is a very odd looking character. Yeah. I don't know if there's specifically a lot of desire to make characters in a game if half of the characters are going to look very ridiculous. It seems like you can really move these metrics out quite a bit to make ridiculous appearances. I'm still not sure what Elden Ring actually is
Have a sweet time.
as a game. Whether it's supposed to be an MMO or an RPG or some short action game. Video Game Chronicles says an Xbox version of Ages of Empires 4 is reportedly been spotted. So we may, for January, just see a lot of it seemingly may just be a month in which we're just going to see a lot of leaks and speculation towards games coming up. Apparently Dying Light 2 takes 500 hours to complete, 100% the developer claims. Traditional playthrough though will take significantly less. Says it takes 534 hours to walk from Warsaw to Madrid. I assume maybe you don't have to actually walk to a lot of places, that would kind of make sense that you'd have some fast travels. Things. This is an odd claim for them to make at this point, considering the delays and considering there's a very reasonable argument that you should be very suspicious as to how good of a game Dying Light 2 actually is going to be and what kind of gameplay that's really going to be. More and more we're getting too many games which are too long, and we've been getting that for over a decade now, and I'd like to see the pendulum swing the other direction, and I've seen no sign of that actually happening. Although I suppose if Dying Light had come out at the beginning of 2021 and everything else got canceled and it was a 500-hour game, it probably would have been an amazing success. It really, 2021, even late 2020, makes a great argument that if these video game companies were a little bit smarter, they would have a game somewhat in their pocket that they could release 6 months early or a year early without it coming out and turning to be a terrible game. Yes, you can't sit on a video game forever because it'll just look too old, but yeah. It would make a lot of sense if Nintendo always had a Mario game ready to release at any quarter that potentially was going to look bad. A new Mario game. Moving on, a second humor-based Quantic Dream AAA game is reportedly in development. It's claimed to be based on the 2013 Dark Sorcerer tech demo. Okay. I don't recognize this. Dark Sorcerer tech demo? I don't think I ever saw it. I wonder if this is going to be like a Pikmin game where you're going to summon a bunch of goblins and they're going to follow you around like Overlord. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't... It really can't be, because it's just going to be another Quantic Dream narrative-focused game, I would assume.
Your head and body must part ways.
So, yeah. An announcement for a game that won't come out for a very long time. Pink and blue PS5 DualSense colors are now available for pre-order, according to Video Games Chronicles. Capcom teases future development on Street Fighter as it reveals a 35th anniversary logo. Fortnite will reportedly be getting Paramount characters, including the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just heard Paramount Plus still has commercials, even though you're paying for it. And on top of that, the commercials are to like Nickelodeon hotels and resorts. Things that are extremely expensive. Let's see. They have a new look at Pokemon Legends Arceus. A gallery. Video Games Chronicles does. Take-Two has announced the acquisition of the mobile games giant Zynga for $12.7 billion. So, effectively, this probably is an indication that they're not really trying to make a new like Grand Theft Auto game. This kind of lowers the odds that a Bully 2 would actually come out. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a lot of mobile games based on Take-Two properties. Oh no, I'm not. I'm thinking of Rockstar. not Take-Two. So, yeah. Take-Two is the people who own GTA. Oh, well, they do own GTA. And Borderlands, and NBA 2K, and Bioshock. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see mobile games based on that and many other franchises. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a de-emphasize on potentially another Borderlands or another Bioshock game. It may be a middle step to have them make some money while they're waiting for the next Borderlands or Bioshock game. So yeah, Zynga very possibly is going to be the only historically looking story of a successful mobile company, and their success is going to be capped off by being acquired.
I live by the sword.
Meanwhile, I would still say that mobile gaming is in a terrible position still. There's been very little improvement since the beginning of iPhones and Android. I feel like there probably needs to be some way to create some form of pressure, just economic pressure on mobile phone game developers to make it less attractive to make all their games be heavily monetized and poor quality. I don't know how you reach that spot or that point though. Moving on, first screenshots from Armored Core 6 have seemingly leaked. This is like the same article.
You're becoming a nuisance.
They're putting video here of Elden Ring for some reason. I guess this is the only screenshot they're willing to show. Yep. Yeah, you can even see this is rewritten to say that Take-Two wants Zynga to bring its core franchises to mobile. Which, yeah. The failure of the GTA cell phone games to be remastered and ported back to PC, like maybe they are taking that as a stance that they should double down on mobile games, or they should hire someone who can make better mobile games.
You won't wait now. Close your eyes.
Like it clearly had somebody that had already made the GTA remastered trilogy on mobile phones. And at a certain level, despite my distaste for it, playing Borderlands on a mobile phone, particularly if it was something that you were getting a little bit more to do consistently, a little bit more enemies to fight and kill, and a little bit more repeatable quests, I could see a scenario where playing Borderlands on mobile would still look almost as good, and it still would play just almost as well.
I'm not lonely. Not with everyone around me.
Moving on, Video Games Chronicles say sources have said that Sony has switched its Twisted Metal reboot developer. Apparently it's no longer in development at Destruction All-Star Studio Lucid, which this revival definitely has not started on the right foot in several cases. unless this is going to be an announcement where it's back in the hands of the original creators, then this is probably just worse news and isn't going to improve anything. The game still could be great, there's always that possibility. But we just don't know that, and you're not getting a lot of hints that that's how it's going to go down. I really just screwed myself by choosing this character class. I had no chance of winning at all. And then Video Games Chronicle says Take-Two is still looking for acquisition targets following its Record Zynga deal, so they're looking to acquire even more people. Here we have a game on Steam called Glory of Rome, which we may have already looked at. We may have one that's extra. Blaze End here. Looks like garbage. 703, English only. Cyber Runner is a good looking 3D model in an asset flip, like running parkouring shooting game. Tagged in not safe for work for some reason. It's early access for no reason, 59 cents. And then no explanation as to why it's tagged not safe for work. Here we have another one that is clearly should be tagged not safe for work. So what happened here? Why are we seeing adult games on Monday? Well, this came out on the 7th, so this would have been Friday. I must have ended just a little too early on Friday, and that would have been the case. This game, Basketball Baby, literally is just a terrible, low effort physics basketball game with lewd anime girls in the background and inconsistent art as far as the characters anyways. It's $1.79. It claims to have full English support as well as 10 other languages being supported. Obviously that's going to be no. Here we have a game called My Story, which we can say no to. I will probably have to at some point start slowing down a little bit if we can just burn through all of this really fast. This Secure from Jessica looks like it's just a asset flip walking simulator. $2.39, English full audio, then several other languages. That may very well be what happens. Here we have something called The Shore VR, which looks Cthulhu-esque, but also I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't just a walking simulator also. I'm going to give it a chance though. Give it a follow. $18.99, English, allegedly full audio. 7 Dunes, Curse of the Golden Sand. It's not visually polished enough. 10.19, English only. Here we have another one of these RPG games that's tagged sexual content, Bound by Love. This is January 7th also. So this would have been Friday. So my theory that they're still waiting till Fridays or every other Friday to release these games seems to be the case. And these RPG games that have incredibly small amounts of adult content are never worth it. It has Japanese full audio, English and Chinese, and it's $13.49, but it's still not going to make it to the fall list. Here we have a game called Outbreak Guardian, which looks like nothing of interest. $5.99, English only. Here we have a game called Paintball War 2, which is already mixed in its reviews. It's a shame it doesn't look terrible. At some level, a paintball game would make some sense. $7.99, but then there's a bunch of items to buy and in-app purchases, and I think we can say no to that just based on the mixed reviews that it already has.
What?
Let's see. Here we have a game called Beast Crimes, which looks like it's just a furry visual novel adventure game. Which I think I probably am going to start leaning to just saying no to these kinds of games too. I don't know why this is specifically on the follow list already. $3.99 English full audio. We can leave it there and give it a chance, that's fine, but I think going forward I'm going to start just rejecting things that go with the furry visuals. Like, I've yet to, for the entirety of my YouTube career, I've never found a single furry game that was relevant or even looked particularly good. This game, Climby, looks no good also. $8.49. English only. Yeah, and at this rate, I may very well just get this arena run, and that would maybe all I do today as far as Shadowverse. Warlock's Entanglement here looks like garbage. $6.39 English only. Laser Bounce looks like a standard laser bouncing game of no real interest. $1.99, several languages. Do this, do this, do this. Let's see, Gamatsu has Melty Blood type Lumnia, Dead Apostle Noel versus Seal. Trailer 2. Seal, C-I-E-L. Another trailer. We're getting basically one of those almost every day. The Street Fighter 35th anniversary logo is revealed. Take-Two acquired Zynga. Gamatsu having the same articles. And Armored Core 6 details of screenshots are rumored to have been leaked. And then we had already talked about 7 Pirates H coming to the West this spring for the Switch. Just as moe anime characters in lewd costumes, at the very least, if not actually containing actual adult content in it. I'm not 100% sure there, but it is continuously getting silly that the best place to play Japanese adult games is turning out to consistently be the Switch, even over PC gaming, if you're sticking specifically to Steam. We have a game on Steam here called Mafia Family Secrets, which top-down shooter game. I kind of like the art style. It's a nice attempt at a different art style. $5.03 English and several other languages. Pretty much every language Steam supports. Allegedly full audio, single player. We'll give it a follow. We'll see if it maintains positive reviews. Yeah, if we're going to consistently also go through the follow list and do cleanup on every stream, also putting things on the follow list may stop really mattering as much. I feel like we'd already looked at this game in Direction. Still does not particularly look interesting. 99 cents, English, Portuguese, and Russian. Here we have a Chinese game. Looks like a cell phone RPG. Maybe not actually a cell phone game. $1.19, Chinese only. Then we have very possibly the sequel to that game, which I just assume that this is like a Romance of the Four Kingdoms game of some sort. That also is available, $2.39, Chinese only. I can't even really complain too much, because if this is like an old game that came out 10-15 years ago in China and they're just bringing it to Steam, That's a lot less to complain about compared to
Pointed sword
coming out with
deserves
something that
pointed
you're trying to sell as a
response.
brand new product.
Not on my watch.
Like, this may very well be a somewhat beloved series. That being said, it seems like it's 50% positive on all three of these games. I would say these do look like they're getting better with each iteration. Like a real effort here. $239 is not a lot to ask for. The whole bundle here is only $14.53. And since they all don't support English, it's very easy just to reject these games, whatever they are. Apparently at some point they had a spin-off because there's 2-4 games. Either that or there's different versions like a red and blue, or there's an ultimate edition release. Here we have a game called Down the Hill, which doesn't look like anything of interest. 59 cents English only. Here we have a game called Help Me Please, which looks low effort. $9.99. And yeah, we have less than 20 tabs today already. Yeah. There's just basically very little games that have come out, and if anything, this was just like the perfect time to get sick. And frankly, this is probably the perfect time every year in which I would get sick, is just right when it is wintry and cold. I will say, I think I just have allergy colds and things like that. I don't think I'm getting any Omicron or anything big like that. So that's not really a concern for me. But yeah, I'm not really showing any of those symptoms. But yeah, there's basically nothing coming out as far as news. This game Berserk mode looks like garbage. Early access $5.99. English only. I guess I could run the macro again and just do more follow list cleanup if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm not gonna start another Lego set either for at least a week. And my Wi-Fi router has decided to mess up some more after working fairly perfectly for 2 weeks and me not changing anything. This game is Portuguese Brazil only and free. It also doesn't look particularly that good. Let's see. Here we have a game called Michonne or Michonne, which doesn't look like anything that would interest me. $19.99 English, allegedly full audio. There's almost the beginnings of this feeling like it could be a StarCraft game, but I think it really is just a shoot 'em up game. Yeah, when you look at it. We have something called TD Worlds, which I assume is just tower defense. Gameplay does not look interesting. $9.89 English and Russian. Yeah, I suppose it's also worth mentioning that I really haven't slept in at least 16 hours, so I need to sleep some more. Although I did sleep a really long amount of time yesterday. So, yeah. Here we have a game called Defend from Candyland, which is some kind of tower defense game of no interest. $10.99. We have Polypuzzle Dogs, which obviously is going to be a no. $1.19. Claims to have full audio and language support for every language on Steam. which clearly those kinds of things should set off an alarm bell when they're clicking every checkbox. It'd be very easy also just to have a random language that's a made-up language, not even like Esperanto, if it was like Valve Esperanto or something, or just a random assortment of languages and words, just to make sure people are paying attention when clicking the checkboxes. And if you check that checkbox, that should get your game flagged for further review. Because, yeah, it's just far too easy to say you support every single language that exists. In interface translations, in speech, in full audio. Yeah, when you really think about how little Valve cares about the quality of its listings, the part it controls when selling a game, it's crazy that they are so obsessed with the content of games when they're effectively allowing anyone to lie about the content in their games. Moving on, we have a game called Elif, which might be something. I don't know if this isn't going to be perhaps too short of a game, too much of a kiddie game. It's free to play, English and French. I almost wish it was a student project because I really feel like this is probably less than... Yeah, it is a student project. Good. That's really the only thing that saves it. Otherwise, I just have to say play it if you're interested, but since it's free. But I may eventually find some free time to highlight student projects. So there we go, 5 losses for 30 gold. Meanwhile, our quests, it would be to get... Well, if we could get 2 ranked wins, we still wouldn't get this. We would need 3 ranked wins. Or 2 ranked wins and 1 unranked win. And yeah, I really just don't even have the energy to screw around with these kinds of things and try and get a ranked win. Here we have a game on Steam called Astro Rocks. I've noticed now that I've started sitting up, I'm starting to cough a lot too. Astro Rocks looks like a VR shooter of no interest. I guess it's a VR take on a game like Asteroids. $8.49 English only. That's a little too cheap for a VR game. There, I suppose, is an idea here. Instead of making a low-effort Asteroids clone, make a VR Asteroids clone where asteroids are going to come flying towards you and you need to shoot them. That would make it slightly better. This game, Let's Cook, doesn't look visually polished enough. Early access, $19.99 English only. Here we have Bouncy Goat Climb, which seems like maybe a more cartoony getting over it with Benet Foddy game. I'd like to give this one a chance. It is free, so I suspect it may not be that interesting. They say it's a difficult and frustrating game. Yeah, there's a mistake here, certainly, in making a difficult and frustrating game and then making it look so cutesy. You'd almost want this to be the kid-friendly version of Getting Over It, where it's super easy and you can recover quite a bit, but clearly that's not the case. It's not the game they were making. Here we have a game, VR Async Balls, which looks like nothing of interest. $2.09 English and Russian. I should just leave this alone. Here we have a game called Farmer Adventure. which looks like nothing. $6.59 English and Russian. You certainly would steal the entire month of January if you just came out on January 1st and released a decent game. I guess maybe that's what Halo's trying to do, but Halo's also kind of unfinished and multiplayer focused. This Idiot Brain Evolution doesn't look like anything of interest. $3.59, several languages, but not all of them at least. Racing maybe, looks like garbage. $9.99, English allegedly full audio. Buckle Up and Drive looks better. It is $6.39, English allegedly full audio. Well, we'll give this a follow. You're doing like skateboarding tricks basically with the cars, which does seem to be kind of a funny twist on it. Bimos here looks like garbage. $2.54, English, Portuguese, Brazil. And then we'd already covered this story from GameDeveloper.com. Rust just surpassed 12 million sales. And Take-Two Interactive acquired Zynga. And then that just leaves this King's Bounty Dark Side game, which is mostly positive at 70%. As a turn-based strategy game. So what is the King's Bounty Ultimate Edition? I think if I was going to do anything, King's Bounty Armored Princess should be the first one. This came out November 2009. This came out 2014. 2010. 2009. 2012.
Stargazer to the cosmos and beyond.
So yeah. All indications should be, if I'm going to play anything in the King's Bounty series, I should play this game first. So, until I think about it some more, I guess you put this on the wish list and take it off the follow list, but I think in this case I'm not going to put it on the wish list. Like, one of the major factors that's just interesting me here is this kind of Snow White outfit in the thumbnail, which doesn't look like it has anything really to do with the game. King of Streets here, came out in 2020. It's a fighting game. Fortunately, it just doesn't have any relevancy to it. And there are so many fighting games that needs to leave the follow list. We're doing follow list cleanup now. King Cul-de-sac made it past 30, mostly positive, so we can put that on the wish list. It's also a free game, so just play it now. King Arthur's Knight's Tale. Seems like a lot of games starting with King are going to be more of this fantasy positional placement stuff. Yeah. And I guess that's the question to ask is, would I want to play a more fantasy positional placement game? Well, this is still in early access, so we'll give it more time, but I suspect the answer is no. King and Kingdoms we can remove. It's already mixed. Kine, it's rated very positively. Is it early access? No. So we can just put that on the wish list. I don't remember even seeing this. This came out in October of 2020. Yeah. I'm not even going to bother to try and start another game. We have like 5 more tabs. We're barely going to go an hour today. And that's just all for the better. Here we have a game called Kindu Duo, which is a puzzle box pushing game. It looks good enough. $1.99, English only, single player, playable. I feel like there will be the opposite of this at some point. There will be a day somewhere at the end of January, in the middle of February, where we end up having just a ton of news. And then all of a sudden we'll have been fairly used to spending less time streaming, and then I'll have a 4 or 5 hour long stream. This Kindred Fates still needs some time. Kill Squad is a hack and slash game. Yeah. It looks fine. It's good enough to make it to the wish list. Killer Sudoku is good enough to make it onto the wish list. And then Killer Ricky. It's a top down twin stick shooter, which needs more time. And that literally is all I have to talk about today. Let me just quickly scroll through my main Twitter feed, which is the only one I have to scroll through instead of scrolling through 5 Twitter feeds, and see if there's anything new worth mentioning. Otherwise, that's going to be it for the stream. And yeah, I really can't blame people for not hopping on, watching, or commenting on the chat when I'm feeling sick, barely having anything to say. If anything, a stream like this where I have no opinions or feelings about anything, and I'm just too exhausted to care about anything or go on a rant, speeds up the whole process quite a bit. Yeah, we have a game here, Sakura Alien, that came out just now. I believe the Sakura series, though, doesn't actually have any adult content in it, and it's just kind of presented like it's a lewd game. $7.99, English, Chinese. Let's see. Some scenes that might be considered not safe for work is all they're saying, which is basically playing it pretty coy. Yeah. Apparently, Serious Sam Siberian Mayhem has been announced for PC. Also, according to Gamatsu. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to talk about. So that's going to be it for the super short stream. Hopefully I can heal up and I'll be feeling better by Wednesday. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.